We're live one more time.
One more time. Live. I'm Fayaz.
I'm Lee.
Trauma guys. Traumatized.
And we're here to talk a little bit about more Dark Side of the Ring, but this time we're talking about the death of Owen Hart, which was really, for a lot of us who were wrestling fans, was a very dark day because it was kind of out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Something that you never thought would happen. I mean, tragedies happen in pro wrestling, but this is one of those that was way out there that nobody expected to happen to somebody.
It was pretty rough, man. I remember when that happened, and obviously I wasn't there, watching it on TV and whatnot. But when he fell like that, what the weirdest thing about it was the fact that the show kept running. That was the strangest thing about it.
And even JR and even Jim Cornette all thought that they should have stopped the show. And I hear some of the wrestlers on that date talk about how, well, Owen would have wanted the show to go on. I even think if somebody else would have died, he wouldn't have wanted the show to go on. I just don't obviously believe that that's part of somebody's life to say, oh, you know what? A fan died in the front row or somebody died. Well, the show has to go on.
Right. I mean, that's it's kind of rough there. I mean, to say that. And but leading up to that point in his life, the guy was amazing.
Yeah, he was doing a lot of stuff that people weren't expecting. Now, because he wasn't the biggest as statute as a wrestler, size-wise.
No.
But he was what the future was leading to.
Absolutely.
Because there was people like Rey Mysterio and him, and if he would have still been alive, there would have been people for him that were coming in like Chris Jericho and Saturn and Dean Malenko and even Chris Benoit during that time before all this other garbage happened. Those were guys that were coming in sooner, but this was all after Owen had already passed.
Yep.
So he led a lot of that stuff, but he was one of the first in WWE. They didn't have a lot of small guys. They were really on the big guy train.
Yeah, for sure. And, don't get me wrong, Owen Hart had some size on him, but as far as him, his skills and everything he did, he was very ahead of his time, right? Like, you see a lot of guys now, what you were just saying with the technical stuff, the Rey Mysterios, the acrobatic, right, style, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he was doing a lot of the technical stuff because obviously he came from a family where that's what they do.
Yeah.
But he was athletic and he could do the flips and he was doing a lot of that stuff before people were actually doing it. So he kind of built a trend, for a different style of wrestling, I think, coming into that.
Exactly, and not just that. They said he was a great person, especially backstage. He would take on any job. If he was asked to do it, he would do it, whether or not he liked it or he didn't like it.
Yep.
He was that guy that did it because he knew he had to take care of his family first.
That's right.
And his wife and his kids were first and foremost for him.
Right. That's right. Yeah. Yeah, like he'd miss shows for his kids, things like that. I mean, and that's when you're gone that much, man. If you can pry yourself away from it to do something like that, props to those guys that have families, and he wanted to keep his together because I'm sure in that business you see a lot of guys with families.
Yeah.
It doesn't work out. It doesn't work out because you're gone so much, whatnot, and things like that. So he made it a point to really want to try to keep that family aspect of his life together. And his son talks about it too. His son talks about what type of a dad he was from what he can remember, and things like that.
Because they were both still very young,
yeah.
His son and his daughter, when Owen passed away. But their memory is still etched in their minds. Their mother keeps his memory alive.
They got home videos. Yeah, they got all kinds of stuff. So, but yeah, obviously he came from a long tradition of wrestling and. He was on his way to being, just something huge. But when, on that particular day, when that happened, his wife talks about it. It's a heartbreaking thing. And, she was trying to figure out how it happened and, things like that. Not just that.
He was supposed to be in hands of the best people
right.
putting this together. And the clip they used is not what you use for rappelling somebody down.
Yeah.
The clip they used is what you use on a sailboat. When it reaches a certain level, it pops loose.
It's not supposed to carry weight.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah,
Supposed to,
it's supposed to release when it starts getting.
Yeah, when it gets too tense, it releases. It was for a sailboat.
Yeah.
The clip. So for years and years, she never even saw that clip. And when she finally did, she was like, "What is this?"
Right.
And she had to go do research herself before the lawyers and everybody else got involved. She's like, "This is what happened."
Right.
Now, a lot of that is not just on the WWE. That's also on that crew that's supposed to know better, that's doing the act of it, because they were hired. Now, I get they were hired. I was all supposed to. Now, he's done this before, and what they were doing was basically they were mocking Sting from WCW because Sting repelled from the ceiling. But they were doing it as a joke, as he was the Blue Blazer, which was his very first gimmick, one of his very first gimmicks in WWE till later. But they put him back in it, which was all supposed to be a joke, a spoof on the WCW, because it was all this Monday Night War garbage. And in the process, somebody died for this.
Just because they didn't take the time to, do it properly and spend the money, and it's kind of sad, man, because the guy could, the guy was already kind of becoming a star, a big star, and he was already there, and he could have been, even bigger. I mean, to this day, right? He would have been revered by up and coming guys. So, I mean, it's just a shame how that worked out, but his wife finally did get some closure out of that.
Yeah, she finally did get a settlement from the WWE. Now, the whole thing with this is, this wasn't about the money for her. She's using this money to help out other people.
Right. She gave her kids, a good life, and they both got great educations and things like that. But she started a foundation. They help needy families.
They build homes,
and things like that. So. It's a good legacy for Owen Hart to leave, and if you watch any video on the guy or anything like that, around his family, it seems like that's really the perfect legacy for him.
Yeah, he was.
You know what I mean? He was just that type of a guy. It seemed like
that was more important to him than all the wrestling stuff could have ever been. That was to leave something for his family and his father and them. That was their thing, and he did it for them. But I believe that he had other things he would have wanted to do. And being a family man and being a father was way more important than all of that stuff could ever been.
Yeah.
And that's what I got from it. I got more of that. This guy the wrestling business was like secondary. His family and stuff came first. And when we watch a lot of these things and we see a lot of wrestlers, they put their job before their family.
They do.
And this...
Or some of them don't even have them.
Yeah.
Because that's what, and that's okay. So that's your choice. That's what you want to do. But he's probably one wrestler that I've seen talk about that he it was family first.
Definitely.
And I'm not and he wasn't going to stray from that. So I thought that was really cool about Owen Hart, and the legacy he leaves behind is awesome too. He was a great wrestler, great technician, awesome at what he did. But more so, I really love the fact that he was a good family man, put his family first, and and the foundation that they built in his name, turned out to be looks like it's helping a lot of people.
Yeah, and that's where they wanted to go with it, so that his legacy meant something. And why his wife doesn't want him in the WWE Hall of Fame is because she feels like that would put a damper on who he is and his
she feels like those are the people that
are at fault for this.
And you can't really blame her for not feeling that way. She has to, or for feeling that way. She has to feel that way. I mean, they hired the crew, right, to to lock him up, and if they decided to go with a cheaper route, it didn't work out, and it. From the evidence she found and what she found, they didn't even use the right equipment. So, obviously Owen Hart should be, like they say in the episode, in every wrestling Hall of Fame, but she didn't want his name, to be associated with that, as much anymore, and found something else for it to be associated with. And that's great, man. I think that's
I think
it's a
she has
proud
every
thing to
right.
leave. Yeah, for sure.
And some of the family's a little upset at her about it, but that was her husband, and that's her family, and she has the right to do those things. Now, if there's any comments or anything else you would like to add to this, comment down below. We'd be more than happy to discuss it with you.
Yep.
Give us a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Either way, we like to know what you think about what we have to offer. But the comments help, guys. The likes help. Also, subscribe. We're getting up there. We're at like 700 and some subscribers right now. So
nice.
we are moving on up.
Keep them coming, man. We appreciate you guys.
Yeah. So thank you very much. Until next time, we are the Trauma Guys. I'm Lee.
I'm Fayaz.
Until next time.